Welcome to A English Story, your destination for heart-touching English stories that help you learn and feel every word. If you're watching for the first time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with emotional and romantic English stories for listening. Story title: I Broke My Own Rules. My name is Emma Hart. I'm 29, a literature teacher at a private high school in Vermont. All my life, I've been a rule follower, disciplined, organized, the kind of woman who grades papers with a glass of red wine and classical music playing softly in the background. I built my life around structure. Love? It was something I left behind in novels I taught. Not something I ever let slip into my reality, especially not in my classroom. Until he walked in. His name was Caleb Reed. He was 19. A final year student, tall, quiet, piercing hazel eyes that didn't match his age. He transferred mid-semester. The moment he spoke in class for the first time, quoting Frost with such depth and emotion, something in me trembled. I told myself it was nothing. Just admiration for a bright student. But I felt it, like a small fire flickering somewhere deep inside, waiting for a breeze to turn it into a blaze. He started staying after class, at first, for help with his essays. Then, to talk. About poetry. About life. About dreams. We sat closer. Laughed longer. And then one rainy afternoon, while the others rushed out, he lingered. I handed him his graded essay, and our fingers touched. Just for a second. But it was enough. Miss Hart, he whispered, voice barely above the rain tapping the windows. Why do you always look like you're hiding something behind those eyes? I should have stopped it right there. But I didn't. I'm not hiding, I said. Just protecting. He leaned closer. From what? And I said the truth. From people who make me feel things I shouldn't. That was the beginning of my fall. I told myself it would never go further. But days turned into weeks, and the space between us got thinner, charged with a silent electricity. Then, one evening, I found him waiting outside the school gate. He said he just wanted to talk. We walked to the lake near campus, the air cold, the world quiet. And when he looked at me like I was the only thing in his universe, I couldn't fight it anymore. I kissed him. It was wrong. It was forbidden. But it was real. I broke every rule I had ever made for myself. I crossed every boundary a teacher shouldn't cross. And I didn't regret it. Every stolen moment after that, the midnight texts, the secret glances, the hidden meetings, they were electric. He made me feel young again. Alive. Wanted. But guilt creeped in like a shadow. What if someone found out? What if I lost my job? What if I lost him? One night, he said, Emma, let's just run away for the weekend. No titles. No rules. Just you and me. And I said yes. That weekend changed everything. We escaped to a quiet town by the coast. Just a few hours away, but it felt like another world, one where I wasn't Miss Hart, the careful, rule-abiding teacher, and he wasn't my student. We were just Emma and Caleb. Two people lost in the gravity of something we didn't dare call love out loud, not yet. The cabin we rented was small. Wooden walls, no Wi-Fi, no distractions. Just us. That night, the fireplace cracked with warmth, and the scent of sea salt hung in the air as we sat wrapped in a blanket, sipping coffee, watching the ocean waves crash under a full moon. You know, Caleb said softly, brushing my hair behind my ear, I used to think love was just something people wrote about. Like those stories you read us in class. But now, it feels real. I looked into his eyes, unsure if it was right to feel this much for someone I could never have openly. But the way he looked at me, it wasn't teenage lust. It was deeper. Honest. Dangerous. I shouldn't feel this way, I whispered, almost to myself. But you do, he said, placing his hand over my heart, and so do I. That night, we didn't talk much. We didn't need to. Every kiss, every touch, every breath we took was more than just passion, it was confession. A silent promise. I surrendered. Fully. Completely. The teacher disappeared. The woman emerged. By morning, the guilt had returned like low tide creeping back to shore. I stood by the window watching him sleep, my heart torn between two lives. The one I had built with rules, and the one I was now breaking for love. When he woke, he wrapped his arms around me from behind. Let's not go back, he said against my neck. Let's just stay here. Start over. My heart ached. We can't hide forever. He turned me around and looked into my soul. Then let me fight for us. I will. I wanted to believe him. But the real world was waiting. And it never plays fair. The moment we returned, everything felt heavier. Hallways that once echoed with harmless chatter now felt like corridors of suspicion. I found myself flinching at every glance, every question from a colleague. Caleb acted normal, too normal. He smiled like nothing had changed. But everything had. I avoided him in class. I couldn't even look him in the eyes without feeling the weight of what we had done. But he watched me like he was still holding that weekend between his fingers, unwilling to let go. Then it happened. One afternoon, I was grading papers in the staff room when another teacher, Mr. Bowen, sharp-eyed and curious, leaned over and said, "Your star student, Caleb Reed, spends a lot of time in your class after hours, doesn't he?" I smiled quickly, too quickly. He's just passionate about literature. But my hands were shaking. Later that week, a note slid into my desk. No name. Just a sentence, written in familiar handwriting. Don't let them scare you. I'm not ashamed of loving you. See. My heart raced. It was reckless. Dangerous. But beautiful. That night, I waited in my car long after the final bell. He came. Opened the passenger door. No words, just silence. heavy, intense. We drove to the edge of town, to the old drive-in where no one went anymore. He brought a blanket. We sat under the stars, not touching, not speaking. Just feeling. I wish the world could know the real us, he said finally. Not just what they'd see. They'd never understand. He turned to me, eyes glowing in the dim light. Then let's not give them a reason to ruin it. Just be with me. Quietly. Until the time is right. I wanted to believe the time would come. That our love wouldn't always have to be hidden in shadows. But deep down, I knew secrets this big never stayed buried forever. And someone was watching. The following week passed like walking on a wire, every step careful, every glance stolen. Caleb and I had created a world within a world, tucked between shadows and silence. But outside that world, things were beginning to shift. Whispers started. I heard them in the hallways, subtle but sharp. Did you see how she looks at him? They're way too close. She's crossing a line, and everyone knows it. Mr. Bowen's eyes lingered too long during staff meetings. A few students had started staying behind longer after class, pretending to ask questions, but I knew better. They were watching me. Watching us. I tried to distance myself from Caleb. No more extra help. No more notes. But he saw right through me. One afternoon, after the final bell, he cornered me outside the classroom. You're pulling away, he said. I have to, I whispered. People are talking. I don't care what they say. Well, I do, Caleb. I could lose everything. You already are, he said, voice breaking. You're losing me. The pain in his voice was too real. But before I could respond, we heard footsteps, fast, approaching. Mr. Bowen. Caleb stepped back just in time. Mr. Bowen glanced between us, his face unreadable. Then he smiled tightly. Miss Hart, could I see you in the principal's office? Now. My stomach dropped. In the office, Principal Reynolds sat with her arms crossed. A file sat on the desk. My name on it. We received a complaint, she said. An anonymous student. About inappropriate behavior. I went cold. My hands trembled. I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came. This was it. Everything I had hidden, everything we shared, was about to unravel. The air in the principal's office felt like ice. I sat across from them, Principal Reynolds and Mr. Bowen, my heart pounding so loud I could barely hear their words. There are serious allegations, she said calmly, flipping through the file. We're placing you on temporary leave while we investigate. I nodded, silent. There was nothing to say. The truth was already clawing its way out of the dark. That night, I sat alone in my apartment. The silence was deafening. I knew what I had done. I had crossed the line. Not because I was reckless, but because I had fallen in love. Deep, unexpected, dangerous love. Caleb came to see me one last time. They're going to tear your life apart because of me, he said, his voice filled with guilt. No, I said softly, brushing my fingers against his cheek. They're doing it because I knew better, and still couldn't let you go. We hugged, one last time. It was tender. It was goodbye. In the months that followed, I resigned from my position. The rumors died down eventually, but the damage had been done. I left town. Started over somewhere new. No more chalkboards. No more lesson plans. Just quiet mornings and a stack of books. As for Caleb, he graduated with honors. I heard he got into a great college out west. We never spoke again. But I think about him. Often. Not with regret, but with a strange kind of gratitude. Because he reminded me that even the strongest walls can crack when the heart wants what it wants. Love can be beautiful, but when it crosses boundaries, it comes with consequences. It teaches us where passion ends and responsibility begins. Some love stories aren't meant to last forever, just long enough to change us. Story touched your heart? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful and emotional stories. Your support means everything. See you in the next story.